Hi, how do we foam roll? Well, it's not to be avoided, and the best way is to make it approachable by doing it for short durations, frequently, or consistently, I'm sorry, is a better phrase. You're gonna bring a foam roller, soft version, more dense or bumpy, whatever your preference, and we're just going to shear that lower leg across the surface, and sitting on our bum and standing on this leg just helps kind of absorb that, and this might be all the pressure some of us can take. There are hand like stick rollers or like a rolling pin that works too, to really work through this lean area. If getting on the floor is not possible, you can stand and sometimes get some body parts done on the wall. But really all you're doing is taking one or both legs at a time. But again, that really requires me just dragging my bottom kind of on the floor, because otherwise it's a big strength workout to the arms and shoulders, and that may not be accessible to you. So that's why getting above and using a second foam roller as well to help support, and again, get 2 for 1. Get some rolling done on another part of the body. When you cross over, there's going to be more pressure placed through that single leg or pressure point on the roller. So again, the shins, the valleys of this particular roller just again create a little bit more trigger point activation of the foam rolling. But it really just takes experimenting for yourself, kind of getting down on the ground on maybe a very large bed, but again, a squishy surface is really going to make it hard to get that leverage you might need. I really like to use my leg to stand on as well. So if my arms are getting tired, I will use this leg to stand on of sorts, and then just move that leg tissue over the foam roller. One more thing I want to point out for the lower leg is pointing and flexing, and even doing circles kind of as you again shear or roll. The foam roller can be used for stretching as well as rolling at the same time. I'm going to move to the hamstrings now. These larger rollers are useful just because I can really take my legs wide. I can again shear, moving my whole leg from the hip in and out. If this again is a challenge, you might want a yoga block. I happen to have one here to demonstrate what I speak of. And it also helps with the angle of the wrist, so I can get up above. I'm doing single leg and standing as I roll and shear, really trying to get that inner and outer leg, and then rolling to my side. So really getting this meaty hip portion. We avoid rolling over bony joints because it is stress and unpleasant. So you'll naturally want to avoid that. Now, notice how I crossed over, and I'm kind of working on this roller diagonally. I say these are great for commercial breaks. Again, I'm coming across now the back hip on just this one side, but of course I just have to walk and adjust on the other side, moving into my lower back, and of course getting the other hip, glute, and hamstring. You want to avoid rolling directly on the IT band, which is tempting. People want to release the IT band, But the contributors are more so this outer quad, outer hamstring, and this little sausage-like muscle, your second hip flexor. It's gonna feel like someone is pinching you when you hit it just right, because as I mentioned, it is kind of a short, fat sausage, and of course, when you pinch it, there is gonna be more pressure. So this is where everyone loves to go as well, just here across the back. So we're gonna focus this video just on lower body. But again, who can resist gently getting some lower body? So I'm gonna roll over, kind of in a plank position, and bring this roller down to the front hip flexor and quad. And again, I'm really standing on my feet and my hands to control the amount of load coming into that quad. And you can see I am doing one leg at a time. If I put both legs down, the pressure is divided and it's not quite so intense. But if you want more work, and of course, as you design or paint the outer, it will be more one leg. You know, you're gonna see me crawl over this like a body pillow. I don't know if you sleep with a body pillow, but now I have my knee positioned over the foam roller, and I'm just gliding. If elbows are more comfortable, you're just doing kind of a frog-like position, and I'm just gently dispersing my weight. This can be and needs to be very gentle. The inner thigh is also a very often tight muscle group, and this is key to kind of prepping the tissue for stretching. Now you'll see a little better here. I'm just gonna switch what this looks like. The more of my leg I leave on here versus just a sharp right angle, that's gonna be, again, more of a pressure point. Here is less. This will not work very well, so I'm gonna angle this roller. There is no right, wrong, it's just intuitive. You'll know what is unpleasant and require you to adjust as you go. I want to demonstrate, after having rolled front, outer, back, we're going to use the foam roller as a way to stretch. So by just bringing the legs up on here, I've extended my hamstrings. Now if I adjust my bottom to get on the shelf, if you will, of that sit bone, getting the glutes away, I can point or flex, kind of move in and out, breathe. Stretching is an invitation to your body to release. So I've come forward to a point where I feel the stretch, but I'm not holding my breath, crunching my face up in pain, and guarding and surviving, if you will, the pain of a stretch. It shouldn't be painful, so you want to make sure you're only moving to a position or pose that is tolerated, even for a short amount of time, without locking out a joint. It's not about how low we can go initially. I want to demonstrate coming on top and extending into a straddle of your choosing, or again, just coming on top and folding where you gently can feel that stretch. It should not take a lot, and I'm not going to stay in this position for as long, but you're going to do a couple passes. And longer stretch sometimes can create a lot of soreness. Foam rolling itself can cause some muscle soreness. You want to go very low dose initially, and then see how your body responds to that. So here is that wider straddle stretch, and I'm just gonna walk forward to, again, whatever degree you might want to use the blocks again, or something to support you. Notice here you can see me lifting out of my low back. I don't want to go lower. Again, the goal isn't to get in some impressive position at all costs. It's to stay lifted from my low back, to lengthen, and hopefully be able to relax and speak in a tone of voice where you're not clenching or guarding. And in each of these, we can come to one leg to emphasize. If it gets too much or uncomfortable, then you just adjust, shift your position a little bit, and then take it to the other side. And you can rainbow reach. I can almost guarantee if you go through 2 sets or 2 passes of each stretch, coming inhale, exhale, come back to center, you should feel at least less resistance to the stretch, or even visibly greater flexibility. So having reached rainbow to each leg individually, we're going to also come to what's called a number 4 stretch. It can be done seated, standing, or lying. And what it does is it pulls this, we have company, it pulls the glute muscles, the superficial glute muscles away so that we can get a little deeper in this stretch. Now I'm gently going to press the knee open and push the bottom of my foot oppositionally, and then that increases the stretch. Now I can also continue to shear or roll. So stretching can be a part of your foam rolling sequence. Of course, what we do to one side, we want to do to the other. Again, I can go back and forth, or just sit low. By coming all the way to the ground, I'm folding myself tighter. If you've ever held your knees into your chest for a similar stretch on your back, this is just wrapping through that outer leg, outer hip and leg and down the leg. So where each of us feels these stretches, it might be a little bit different than what I'm describing. So I don't know if you noticed, I just laid my knees to one direction. You can open the feet as wide as you need. This is called a bretzel. So if we're seated upright, I really like this from the foam roller, because this, I understand, is challenging. The goal over time is to get those knees to kiss the floor, or to stay kissing the floor, if you will, if you follow me. Coming up here just gives you a boost, like the yoga block, so you don't have to do this on the foam roller. But since you just rolled the quads, stretching is prime time beneficial. And your stretching sessions will be so much more beneficial if you foam roll first. So this is a little bit longer and we're just doing the lower body, but imagine just 5 or a few minutes what that would require. And then I just move my knees to the other side. You're going to adjust. Maybe the foam roller isn't ideal. It does give you a little bit of back support. You start high over time. You will start opening up and being able to stretch and open from the hip more. But again, if this angle of the knee is bothersome, you can adjust the foot to wherever it needs to be and open those knees as wide as they need to be. Well done, well done. Go ahead and give yourself a hug and a pat on the back, making sure your hands, wrists, and shoulders were not strained in the good effort of foam rolling for the lower body.